Happy Repeal Day, everyone. I am Bologna. I am part of the Chicago Sports Bums, and this is another Bourbon Bums review. It is Repeal Day. I'm recording this on Repeal Day. You might be watching it the day after or many days after, but we're celebrating today. We're celebrating the fact that 90 years ago, the U.S. government came to their senses and ratified the 21st Amendment, which means prohibition was no longer illegal. For 13 long years, from 1920 to 1933, it was illegal to drink alcohol in the US, or unless you skirt some issues and say it was medicinal and or other things, or drink it under the table, because a lot of these guys were bootlegging and doing different things. But in 1933, on December 5th, it became legal once again to distill and produce and sell and consume the beautiful, beautiful brown liquor that is bourbon, along with a lot of other liquors. So yeah, I'm celebrating the only way I know how. I have a lineup of Remus Repeal Reserve bourbons, and I'm going to review for you the newest batch, Remus Repeal 7. So let me get this out of the way so you can see these beautiful bottles, because I do think this is some of the better packaging in the game of bourbon today. Where is that banner? I am losing my mind. Don't. There it is. Here we go. There we go. There is the lineup of Remus Repeal bottles. The newest one, Remus 7, is a blend of 2020 or 2007 bourbon that is 21% rye, 2013 bourbon that is 21% rye, 2014 bourbon which is 21% rye, 2013 bourbon which is 36% rye, and 2014 bourbon which is 36% rye. Doing all of the math and doing it, you know, the legalities of things. It's a 9-year-old bourbon. They have to legally go by what's the youngest age in the bottle. So it's a 9-year-old bourbon, but it's got some 16, some 10, and two 10s in there. There's been a lot to be said about the Remus Repeal lineup. A lot of it has to do with Remus Repeal 5, which is was their 5th anniversary, and how good this bottle was. This had a blend of 16, 15, 15, and 13 years. So this was a 13-year-old whiskey legally, but it had some older bourbon in there. And this was lights out. I remember buying this bottle, and I've got, a little less than halfway there. And I've been saving it because it was one of my favorite releases of the year in 2021. They followed that up in 2022 with a fumble. I mean, we're the Chicago Sports Bums. We talk Chicago Bears football on Monday nights. They fumbled the 2020 or the 2022 release. 2022 Remus 6 was 14-year, 10-year, 10-year, and 8-year. So they went from being able to claim a 13-year-old whiskey to now an 8-year-old, and it left a lot to be desired. Apparently, what they said was that every 5 years they're going to come out with a banger. That's a lot to ask for someone to wait 5 years for, an ultra aged whiskey. And I like a lot of the MGP. So this is produced by MGP, which now goes by Ross and Squibbs. They used Ross and Squibb. See, I do the Chicago thing where I add an S to everything, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I ain't gonna change. So Ross and Squibbs. No, it's Ross and Squibb. Used to be Midwest Grain Products. I like a lot of their stuff, especially their ultra aged stuff, which is few and far between now. It's hard to find nowadays. But if you can, I really like their aged products. So yeah, George Remus, he was a bootlegger. If you read up on him, kind of a bad dude. A lot of these guys back in the day that we celebrate in the bourbon world and whiskey, dude, maybe not the best judges of character, maybe not the not really on the up and up if you read a lot about them, but they also like to tell a lot of tall tales, and one of them being that George Remus was the inspiration for Jay Gatsby, the main character in the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel, The Great Gatsby. So I was lucky enough to grab last year's Gatsby's Reserve, which is a 15-year-old cast strength bourbon. And we finished this bottle. Shout out the head bum in charge and his lovely wife, Sarah. We drank this bottle getting ready for his wedding. It was awesome. We all shared it together. and it was one of my favorite releases of last year. I haven't tried this year. I heard really good things. Matt Porter, ADHD Whiskey, really liked it. I really liked last year. The price point is a little tough to swallow, but the juice inside was fantastic. So I got a little left. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? Because we're celebrating the end of Prohibition. I'm gonna be like Winnie the Pooh and just looking for a small smackerel of honey. I got that little bit left. Let's see if I can get it out here. All right. That's expensive whiskey that went straight down my cheek. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty. This year's release. Off the bat, I've had this. Obviously, I've got like I drank a good amount of it. I really like it. I think it's better than Remus 6. Can't compare it to Remus 5. Originally, I thought for this show or this episode of the Bourbon Bums, let's just do a 3 bottle flight and compare it. It's not fair. You can't compare 5 to 6 and 7. It's just not fair to the other bottles. You can compare 6 and 7, which I have here. I had a little bit of a 6 just as a reminder of what I had. Like I said, it was not great. It was not the best. So this is a little better. So off the nose, the main thing that sticks out to me for the newest release is how much this smells and drinks like a rye. It's a bourbon whiskey. It does have some high rye components to it, and those stick out predominantly. So I get a little bit, or not a little bit, a good amount of the grassy aspects of a rye, even though this is a bourbon. So there's some grass, there's some citrus, but there's also some bourbon notes. So like there's a lot of brown sugar. There's like a cherry Twizzlers kind of deal to it, which I like a lot. So Remus 5, when I first had the bottle, it was like chocolate covered cherries. It was like really decadent. This isn't that, but there's notes of that in here, which is what I like. There's a really good amount of oak. If you like oaky bourbons or oaky whiskeys, there's a solid amount of oak and then like chocolate. And then again, like I mentioned, it drinking like a rye. I usually, or not usually, but sometimes get like an orange note. So it's like chocolate and orangey and grassy, but still like brown sugary. It's kind of interesting. So, like I mentioned, it's never gonna be Remus Repeal 5, but I'm pretty happy getting Remus. Like they're getting back in the right direction. The other thing that sticks out, it's got a really solid finish. It lingers. It gives you the little like black pepper notes in the inside of your cheeks and inside of your tongue. You get the oak. There's a little bit of like leather and like there's a good like tannin to it. Like it's tannic, but like not overwhelmingly drying. I think I mentioned that in the last review. I don't even remember what my last review was, but I remember similar notes to it. Overall, I like it. I like it. If I'm gonna grade it, if I'm going 1 through 10, I think it's a solid 8.3. 8.3. I should mention the price point. They're starting to get I mean, I remember buying this Remus 5 for 89.99, and now both of these were over $100. I think I bought these for like 110, which is the cost of doing business right now in bourbon or in whiskey. So I would like it at like 79, 80 bucks, but you're not finding those anymore. So that is my celebration for Repeal Day. Shout out the government for once in their life figuring things out and kind of doing the right thing. Um, if prohibition came back, I would cry. I would cry my eyes out. But we don't have to worry about that. At least not yet. Who knows what those bozos are doing? But we're gonna drink until we can't. So we'll see you next week. Bye.